Congresswoman, Ted Cruz has been talking on the Senate floor. Last check, he's still talking. Does this hurt the process? I mean, you lose a day that you can actually get a deal done, correct?
Even the Republicans in the Senate are fed up with Ted Cruz. He's talking, probably trying to build up his list so he can get out there and raise money. We should be sitting down, Barbara Mikulski, a Democrat, Senator Shelby, I'm talking about the Senate now, Barbara Mikulski, a Democrat, Senator Shelby, Hal Rogers, a Republican, Nita Lowey as head of appropriations for the Democrat. We could work this out. But this is just an act trying to rally their Tea Party crowd, and they're not going to accomplish anything. And what's interesting, my Republican friends are so fed up with Ted Cruz.
The earliest now that the bill could come back to the House would be either Sunday or Monday, with the deadline approaching Monday. Are you still hopeful that we can get a deal done without the government shutting down?
I am very goal-directed. And as the top Dem on appropriations, every day I talk with Senator Mikulski or Sylvia from OMB, Office of Management and Budget, because I'd like to know where we're heading. We don't know the end of this movie yet, and we're not sure what the Republicans are going to do. The moderate Republicans are pushing to get a deal because we're wasting dollars, we're wasting time. Every day they bring us back to Washington costs over $1 million, so it's really foolish.
You were talking to the seniors here about the economic impact of a possible shutdown or a debt limit default. Can you ever, you've been in Congress a while, can you ever recall any group being this cavalier with the entire economy, I mean, potentially at risk?
Even the Republicans tried to bring a bill to the floor that would fund transportation and housing programs. They had to pull it off the floor because they couldn't even get the Republican votes for it. It was so bad, it was so low. I mentioned before the Institute of Health, the National Institutes of Health that funds all medical research. The cuts are so deep that they're worried that they can't move forward with their research projects. So this is wasting time, wasting money, cutting jobs, really damaging to the economy.
What is it about Obamacare? I mean, that makes the Republicans go to this extent? I mean, I can't recall another party going this far on any single issue.
Well, first of all, they call it Obamacare rather than the Affordable Care Act. I assume 10 years from now, Obamacare will be a very favorable expression, but they just want to defeat President Obama, and they're not accomplishing anything, and that we're wasting taxpayer dollars. We're not moving ahead creating jobs. We're not putting people to work, cutting Head Start, cutting education programs like Title I or IDEA. This is a waste of time and energy.
Last question. You mentioned a number of Republicans are frustrated with all of this, too. What's your sense with John Boehner as the speaker? I mean, do you think he'd like to put this behind him and actually get a deal done and not focus on something like shutting down the government?
Speaker Boehner is a very decent guy. I communicate with him all the time. He likes to do his work, and then he likes to play golf. Otherwise, he wouldn't have that incredible suntan.
Right.
He'd like to work something out. But this Hastert rule that says the majority of the majority have to be in place has to be amended, because he's got to bring this to the floor and get it done. I think what's going to happen, we'll end up with a more moderate bill, and it'll be Democrats and moderate Republicans that will support it.
At what point does he put his foot down against these Tea Party Republicans and say enough is enough?
Oh, you'll have to ask him. I don't know, but I think now he knows you can't shut down the government, and hopefully a combination of Democrats and some of the moderate Republicans. They're fewer and fewer because they are getting primaries from the right, from people like the Koch brothers, who are putting these ugly ads on TV about Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act. So I'm hoping that we can stop wasting time, get together, and do a budget that cuts out waste. And by the way, the Budget Control Act in 2011 cut out $2.5 trillion over the next 10 years. So we're cutting out money and cutting out wasteful programs, but you cannot continue to play with the debt and threaten the debt of the United States, not the debt, the reputation of the United States of America.
All right, you've got to get back to Washington, Congresswoman. Thanks very much.
Thank you.